Alright guys, Georgia takes on Gonzaga in the round 1 of the NCAA tournament tomorrow. I figured we look at some of Georgia's NCAA tournament history. Now, I actually had a video originally, but I kind of just scanned through it. I didn't want to include everything, but I actually will include everything in this video. So, this is Georgia's first NCAA tournament appearance since 2015. Georgia is looking to win their first game since 2002. Haha. Yeah, we count those vacated when you stole from us in NCAA. But regardless, Georgia's looking to win an NCAA tournament game since 2002. We're going to take a quick look at Georgia's tournament appearance. So, Georgia's first appearance in the NCAA tournament was 1982-83. If you're a Georgia fan, you know how this goes. Georgia beat Virginia Commonwealth in the round of 32, and then beat St. John's in the Sweet 16 that upset Michael Jordan and the North Carolina Tar Heels in the Elite Eight. Unfortunately, lost to North Carolina State, who was the Cinderella that year. Jim Valvino was their head coach, one of the best coaches of all time. Actually, I mean. I'm sad we lost that game, but really, I don't know how you could be mad about that. Especially when you beat Michael Jordan, by the way, the best basketball player of all time. The best basketball player of all time didn't beat Georgia, and that is, you ain't my goat. You ain't my goat, Michael. After that, in 1985, Georgia makes the round of 64. They play Wichita State, they win, and then they play Illinois, which they lost. This game also been vacated by the NCAA, so do what you will with that. 1987, Dogs make it to the round of 64. They play number 9 seeded Kansas State. They lose 82-79 in overtime. In 1990, we play in the round of 64. We lose to Texas 100-88. In 1991, Georgia makes it and loses to Pittsburgh. 1976-78, and then 1996-97 happens. Georgia had a great season in 1995, 96-97, 95-96. Excuse me, we'll get 96-97 in a moment. Georgia shot a lot of people in 95-96, and we're an 8 seed. And then Georgia goes. They upset Clemson. They upset Purdue. They make the Sweet 16. They have to play the Syracuse Orangemen. And unfortunately, Georgia loses that game. It was a shootout. If Georgia hit a free, Syracuse hit a free. Georgia hit a corner free with 8 seconds to take the lead. Then unfortunately, Syracuse drives down the court and leans into a free pointer. It goes, and then at that point, Georgia has to scramble and heave up a prayer. It didn't go. So Georgia gets knocked out after heartbreak in 1995-96. In 96-97, this is the one that might hurt Georgia fans the most. And there's a reason for it. In 96-97, Georgia had one of the best seasons it had in a very long time. SEC tournament was awesome. They beat LSU, they upset Arkansas, then they beat South Carolina to get to the SEC championship game. They did lose to Kentucky, but their reward for playing such a good NCAA tournament. The SEC tournament was a higher seed in the NCAA tournament. They were a 3 seed. They took on the Chattanooga Mocs, and unfortunately for Georgia, Chattanooga got out to a 22-2 run, and Georgia had to spend the whole game catching up. The Dogs were in panic mode the whole game. And then, unfortunately for Georgia, they hit Chattanooga, tips Georgia's inbound, and it goes out of bounds on Chattanooga. Georgia, at that point, then has to heave up a prayer on the inbound. Did not go. Chattanooga stuns Georgia 70-73. That one had to hurt. That one hurts, because that Georgia team should have got far further than they did, and especially if you were looking at the team they had the previous season before, you're looking, how did they not get that far? But yeah, and then in 2001, they took on Missouri, 70-68. Dogs to lose that game. And then in 2002, which is their last tournament win, they beat Murray State 85-68. Then we lose to Southern Illinois 75-77. Southern Illinois got some calls in that game. Georgia got shafted by the officials. Georgia should have won that game, but it is what it is. And now we get to 2008, and this is one of the interesting runs. Georgia had a losing record. Georgia was one of the worst teams in the SEC. They were one of the worst teams in college basketball. But Georgia in the SEC tournament beat Ole Miss off a buzzer beater. Tornado happens. They play Kentucky. And they beat Kentucky on a game-winning three-pointer. And then they beat Mississippi State. Then they beat Arkansas. So they win the SEC championship. They get the conference automatic bid to the SEC championship, and their reward is playing Xavier. They play Xavier in the NCAA tournament. This actually started out very good for Georgia. Georgia played good the entire start of the game. For the first half, Georgia was playing good. For the second half, Georgia started good. A Billy Humphrey three-pointer will be one of the last buckets they scored in this game. And then with 11 minutes to play, they went on a scoreless drought, and very unfortunate. Georgia goes on to lose that game 73-61 in the NCAA tournament. And then they make it in 2011. This was one of Mark Fox's first teams, and his third team actually going to be, or their second team he's actually going to be, real correct with it. They had Dustin Ware, Travis Leslie, Chris Barnes, Jeremy Price, Vincent Williams. This was one of the teams that Mark Fox had, and they make the round of 64, and they go on to unfortunately lose to the Washington Huskies. It was a game that wasn't even close to the last few minutes. Georgia had to heave up a free from like half court, and it didn't go. That would have just sent the game to overtime. That wouldn't have even won it, but then 2015, which is Georgia's last appearance in total, and J.J. Frazier, Kenny Gaines, Charles Mann, Nemi Jurisic. This is one of the best teams in Georgia history. They just had a bad draw in the NCAA tournament. They had to play Michigan State. If you know Tom Izzo and Michigan State, they're one of the best teams in college basketball. So, unfortunately, we didn't win that game. But now we're here in 2025, where if Georgia could get a win, they'll have their first tournament win since 2015. The Dogs are dancing, folks, in the NCAA tournament. It is a great time to be a Georgia Bulldogs basketball fan. I'm so proud of this team, regardless if we win or lose. But Georgia in the NCAA tournament, first time since 2015. We'll have it all for you this weekend. Hopefully we get that win. Let's go Hoop Dogs.
Arkansas and go wire to wire to win the SEC tournament.